Hey, man. Heat in 7. I said Heat in 5 on episode 1, and I know hella people were heated.
They were looking for you, man.
Yeah, I know. So I'm saying Heat in 7, man. I think these guys were so close to a championship. I mean, we got blown out by the Lakers, but we were super close. I know Butler really wants to get a ring, so if it's going to be in the year, I think it'll be this year. So Game 7. Mikey is going to be heartbroken tonight. Can we get him on the post game? There's not going to be a post game, big fella. This is y'all's last episode, man.
And that might do it. Al Horford with the rebound, throws it up in the air, and the Boston Celtics will go to the NBA Finals. And they've been great all year long, facing adversity. They have responded.
Now, how about them damn Celtics? On behalf of the Boston Celtics, I am getting this trophy right now for the Eastern Conference guys who just won it, and I'm handing over right now to the old man, Al Horford.
Ime Udoka said earlier that it wouldn't be us if we weren't trying to do it the difficult way.
Now, for me to give this MVP trophy out, let me see here. Jayson Tatum.
Jayson, before this series,
Miami Heat locker room through Championship Alley there.
I'll roll with my boys, man. I'm taking the Heat.
YouTube, how's everyone doing? Jags to Riches, James Peters, thank you so much for your time. And we did it. We did it, ladies and gentlemen. The Boston Celtics are heading to the NBA Finals. Like, what? Absolutely stunning, unbelievable. It still is surreal to me to even say it. Game 7 last night, the Boston Celtics would beat the Miami Heat 100-96 and what was just an absolute dramatic, on the edge of your seat finish to what has been a wild ass series, to what has been an incredibly difficult and gauntlet long, tough playoff run that the Boston Celtics have come through on the other side of unbelievably. Still, if you would have told anyone this back in January, I promise you no one would have said they're going to the finals. But again, guys, quickly, I just want to kind of go through last night's game, briefly, maybe pull up the box scores, some of my key takeaways, and then just kind of reflect. To be honest, this is just a celebration-based video. I'm not going to preview too much around like Golden State or the finals. That'll be a completely separate video. In fact, I'm working on several videos, and that will be one of them. We'll also be doing like a preview on Celtics Corner, so keep an eye out for that. That'll be, I think, a live stream one of these days coming up. But yeah, if you do not mind, I would please ask that you subscribe. I'm really trying to hit this 400 mark. It is free. All you have to do is click that damn button. I promise you don't have to put in any more information, and it would be greatly appreciated. So an early thank you for any of the new subscribers. But let's get straight into it, guys. Boston Celtics last night, and it really was just a team effort, and it is fitting just after everything they have been through. I mean, in this series alone has just been wild. I mean, wild to think that they had that opportunity to close it out in Game 6 in TD Garden. And it was almost like everyone was celebrating ahead of that. You know what I mean? Like in that pregame show for Game 6, when I said, like, they really need to make sure they, take care of business. You don't want to go on the road for a Game 7 where anything can happen. People were like acting like it was blasphemy to even say that. And of course, what happens? They lose. And then here we go to a second straight Game 7. And wow, I mean, this team is up by 10 points with a minute and some change left. And somehow, within a matter of seconds, it's a 2-point game. Like, what the hell is going on here? It's like, godly, y'all want to give us some. My blood pressure can't take this team anymore. My goodness gracious. But Jayson Tatum, 26 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, triple-double watch, a steal, 2 blocks, 46 big minutes, 9 for 21, 4 for 7, good shooting from the 3. Jaylen Brown, 24 points, 8 for 15, excellent shooting, 1 for 5 from the 3. We want to see a little bit better from that, but 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Marcus Smart also with 24 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. He was 8 for 22. Again, Marcus Smart leading the team in field goal attempts. 3 for 10 from the three-pointer. It was a really good bounce-back game for him after, kind of a down game 6 where he was, 4 for 15, 1 for 9 from the 3. So really, this team, as always, moves with Marcus. So when he is on, he affects the game in so many ways. And, of course, you don't see all the defensive stats on this side. But Al Horford, 5 points, 14 rebounds, 3 assists. Who's not a fan of Al Horford? What an incredible story. Rob Williams only playing in 15 minutes, 2 points, 3 rebounds. Big minutes for Grant off the bench, 3 points. He was 5 for 8 from the field, 11 points. And, of course, Derek White, who had a huge game 6, was awesome with the 22 points and 33 total minutes, but as you see, only 19 minutes and 8 total points, but showing some love and respect to the opponent. Jimmy Butler, wow, for how incredible he started this series and how incredible he finished. I know that game 3, 20 minutes, he had the injury, missed the second half, and then obviously game 4, game 5, he kind of disappeared. Coming back in game 6 with that 47 piece. Game 7, he finishes up with a 35 points, 9 rebounds. He was sensational this playoff runs. He coming into this series, I think he was averaging nearly 30 points and had already had 4 or 5. I think he's had 5 40-point performances in this playoffs. He's been sensational. Bam, again, he was another one that had a pretty cold start to this series. In fact, there was some times where he disappeared, but huge game 3 for them, and then a huge game 7 where he had 25 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists. Kyle Lowry's another one playing through, I believe, a hammy injury. 15 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. It's good to kind of see him get some games under him because he was another one. It was 2 straight games where I believe the Miami backcourt scored 0 field goals. It was getting rough between him and Strus, but again, as you see, both teams pretty much played very tight rotations, 6-7 men. Jimmy Butler damn near played every single minute. In fact, I think he did actually play every minute. So they left it all out on the court. I do want to say a lot of love and respect to the Miami Heat. Again, I do live in Jacksonville, Florida. So no basketball team here. A lot of people root for Miami. They're everywhere. So it is a team I've rooted for a good amount of my life. I met Dwayne Wade when I was in high school. It is one of those things. It's nothing but respect, nothing but love, and they have nothing. Yesterday in the pregame, we kind of got into that whole thing, like if you lose, is it going to be a disappointment? And of course, I said in the moment that in the immediate aftermath, yes, of course, to lose a game 7 in the ECF with a trip to go to the finals, of course, it's going to sting and be disappointing. But after the smoke and dust settles, both of these teams had an excellent season. Both of these teams are you're in the Eastern Conference Finals in a game 7. Hell yeah, that was a successful season. Both of these teams got gentlemen swept in the first round last year. Both Miami to Milwaukee, Boston to Brooklyn. And here they are battling within 4 points of a game 7. So I was proud when Boston made the playoffs. I was proud considering the fact that we weren't even sure they were going to do that when they were below 500, 10th, 11th seed. I was proud when we swept the Nets' ass, right? And then when we got to a game 7 against the defending champs, at that point, the season was a success to me. I was very proud of the turnaround, the historic turnaround, the steps. Don't forget, guys, there was points like break up the Jays, Is Marcus a real point guard? Trade his ass. We'd rather have Dennis Schroeder as the starting point guard. What is the other one? Rob and Marcus, terrible contracts. We shouldn't have extended them. I mean, there was Al Horford's washed. Why would you trade for him? You know, there has been so many narratives that have just been basically like, you know, toss that shit out. And in fact, that we have a first-year rookie head coach, a first-year rookie president of basketball operations in Brad, and the job that both of those gentlemen have done. It's the first time Tatum and Brown got the keys as the undisputed number 1 and 2. No other all-stars like Kimba and Hayward and Irving, and those guys are gone. It is you all's team. You know, Marcus, you want to be a true point guard? Here you go. First defensive player of the year as a guard in 25 years. I mean, you got 2 old defensive guys, Rob Williams. I mean, to go from never even starting to basically a walking double this season, second team all defense, one of the best passing bigs and vertical threats in the game. Grant Williams coming into the year, it was cut his ass. Now it's like he is like the next PJ Tucker, one of the best 3-and-D switchable forwards on the defensive end. He was excellent against KD and Giannis at times throughout this playoffs, and he's one of the best 3-point shooters in the game, one of the best on our team at a plus 40%. And again, Jayson Tatum, first team all NBA. I mean, took that step to superstardom, I thought, in front of our very eyes. March is when I thought it was undeniable. 3-time player of the week. That was historic. And obviously, I mean, this guy easily stepped into the top 10. My favorite player in the league. And I think that he is knocking on the door of top 5. And I mean, he'll be undeniable. It's incredible to see him competing in his first championship, his finals. And to think, like, this man has been to what? 3 ECFs, now to a finals. Jalen and Marcus, 4 ECFs, now to a finals. And these guys are all in their mid-20s. Tatum just turned 24 a month ago. Brown just turned 25. Smart's is like, it is an absolute incredible run, an incredible year, an incredible turnaround. And this has been, as I said, a historic turnaround from a team below 500 at the midpoint. And again, if anyone told you that they could see or foresee the Celtics going to the finals, you know, at the beginning of the season, January even, they're full of shit. Because even me, I was, as coming into the season, I was saying the Celtics are going to be top 4. You know, first video I ever did with me and Bobby arguing. What did we argue about? Me saying the Celtics were going to be a top 4 team. Me saying the whole Marcus Smart argument, and then me supporting the Al Horford. Those were our 3 big things. So I had obviously coming into the season a top 4 seed, and then I would probably say around like the February, like around the All-Star break where they went on that run, lost to Detroit, and then came back and started to go on another run. That is when I really started to believe in that, like, this team could make it. Like, they could go all the way. And in fact, that's when I pretty much started speaking out on it publicly. And they were talking shit to me like late February, early March. In fact, check it out. The East is 100%. Wide open. There's a bunch of really, really good teams. I mean, 100%. We got the schedule, or excuse me, my standings right here. Heat, Bulls, Sixers, Bucks, Cavs, Celtics, Nets. So do the Boston Celtics make it to the Eastern Conference Finals? I believe they can, and I believe they have the team to do it. Jim, I think all of these, you know, we win. I think that there's right now the way the Celtics are playing, I think they're the best team in the East. They're my pick to make it to the NBA Finals and represent the East. I agree with Anna and Bobby. I've said it that I think the winner of this series is going to represent the East in the Finals. I think this is the best 2 teams in the East. Again, to think of the playoffs, to start off with Brooklyn, who was, just like I said, it was not at the normal 7 seed and just all the bullshit that came along with them. And we should have tanked for them. And to go out and sweep that team with KD and Kyrie, and then you got to face the defending champs and Giannis, who was on God mode, you know, doing what he was doing, and you beat them in games in a 7-game, just instant classic series. Then you go and take on the number 1 seeded Miami Heat, who were just in the finals the year before last, and you take them to 7. Like, think of some of the other teams. Like, think of Golden State, their road. They faced Denver, who was basically Jokic, no, you know, Michael Porter, no Jamal Murray, it was Jokic, and then Will Barton and Aaron Gordon. So they played Denver. Then they played Memphis, who Ja was missing half the damn series, and then they played Dallas, who, let's be honest, like they weren't supposed to be there either. It was supposed to be Phoenix, so if you just compare the paths to get there, it is just night and day, and one of the toughest roads I can remember of recent memory. So again, it has been this playoff run, the fact that no back-to-back losses in the entirety of this run. In fact, the last time they had a back-to-back loss was like March. The fact that all 3 times they faced an elimination, they won. I mean, I cannot speak on how proud I am of this team, and just the Boston Celtics are in the NBA Finals. What? Unbelievable. Again, Jayson Tatum winning the first ever Larry Bird Eastern Conference Finals MVP award. So fitting. He's basically been averaging in 18 games in this playoffs. He's averaging, 27 points, 7 rebounds, like 6 assists. I mean, he's, 40-point games. I mean, his playmaking in this Miami series was elevated, and they're throwing everything they can at him. I mean, they really are. Every single shitty game he's had, or every loss, he has come back and bounced back at, I think he was averaging 32 points and coming out of losses. He's been excellent. I mean, I could go on and on about this team, but again, it would be something where it would be a 2-hour-long or 6-hour-long video. I mean, Lord have mercy. First finals appearance since the Big Three era of 2009-10. You're talking about back when, the KG and Pierce and Allen and Rondo. So it's been a long time. And the team we are facing, Golden State, I mean, that is the dynasty. In between that time of appearances, that's been the dynasty. Multiple appearances, multiple wins. I mean, all of their battles with LeBron in Cleveland, and the fact that obviously, they won in the majority of them. So, I mean, I'm not going to get too much into that. Like I said, I'll do a completely separate video. I'm working on a Brad Stevens, Ime Udoka video. I'm just talking about their incredible rookie campaigns. I'm working on like a best of Celtics corner, just kind of going over all of, the best of Celtics. And then I'm also going to work on a separate finals preview where I'll go into a lot more details, just on everything. But quick preview, Golden State, I believe played them twice this season, split 1 apiece. That first meeting, it was the more accurate. Well, actually, that was a 4-point loss. I want to say 111-107. That was early in the season before we really found our footing. But then that second one is the one where it was the Smart Curry injury and everyone lost their mind. But we beat the shit out of them by like 20 in that game. So it's really hard to get a, real grasp on either one of those. And in fact, if you look at even when Golden State was at the top, Boston and Golden State always just have had a history of matching up very well, very exciting games. Like they get up for each other. So I'm expecting a awesome finals and awesome series. No previews or no predictions or anything like that, but it'll just be interesting. I know Golden State's got pretty solid, at least 6-man rotation. I know you got obviously staffing play. You'll see Wiggins and then Draymond at the forwards with Looney at the 5. Jordan Poole, obviously their, spark plug off the bench at the 6. And then it'll be interesting because I read like Otto Porter, Iguodala, Gary Payton, all those guys are going to be coming back from injury potentially at some point in the series. And then you got like the Moody's, the Kamingas, the Bajelica or whatever. I'm sorry if I mispronounced. The Nemanja from Sacramento, the point center. I would imagine you probably see him get a little bit of run just based on, they're ready to substitution. They're going to be starting both Draymond and Looney. Kamingas, we got some fits on him to kind of see who that rotating number 78 and are all healthy. But obviously, knows Boston Celtics bring on Marcus Smart, the Jays, Al Horford, Rob Williams, Derek White, Grant Williams. That's our 7-man. Let's rock and roll with it. So I do expect this to be a very entertaining back and forth series. I will say that some of the shit the Boston Celtics were doing in these previous, like the turnover, listen, they have to make adjustments. They've been battling teams that aren't the best offensively. Miami Miami is not going to be able to make you pay for turnovers the way Golden State potentially can. Like Golden State with that firepower and offense, if we're sloppy and turning the ball over 3 times in 30 seconds, we'll look up, blink, and then be down by 15. So we just got to be a lot more careful. This whole running out the clock, trying to play against the clock instead of, just winning the game. They did that last night in Game 7. They did, I think, that in the Bucks series, and it cost them the damn game. I think it was that Game 5 loss. I hate that shit. That literally drove me crazy, and that is why they went from a 10-point lead to a 2 with a minute left. So, I mean, again, no turnovers. And making your shots, you know what I mean? It's going to come down to that. So it'll be interesting. I'm very curious to see the matchups, who is guarding who. I think you got Wiggins. Is he guarding Tatum? And then is Clay on Jalen? Because obviously Draymond's going to probably have to be on Al, and Looney will be on Rob. So then it's going to be Marcus versus Steph. So very excited about this. It should be, like I said, it is. For these two historic teams, both of them last year, to be where they were, to now be in the finals against each other, it is awesome. And what I see, it's a potential, like, this is 2 potential dynasties here, almost like a passing of the guard. You got the old dynasty with the Golden State Warriors, 4 championships or whatever it is. And Steph has been to 6 out of the 13 years he's played. He's been to 6 finals. Like, half of his career he's been in the finals. And I mean, obviously he wants that finals MVP. They're hungry just to get back after a disappointing injury riddled last season. But to me, the Celtics are really knocking on the door of a potential dynasty as well. I mean, this could be the start of one easily, depending on how things go. We all thought it was going to be back when Kyrie, Gordon, trade for AD. That was it. But if they somehow win this NBA championship, if they win the finals behind a 24, 23, I mean, and Jalen and Jayson at the core with Smart and Rob, who are Rob 24, Marcus is another one right in his mid-20s, Derek White mid-20s, Grant Williams early 20s, like their entire core is all in their early to mid-20s. And then, oh, by the way, we are a year away, not next season, after next season, Al Horford's $27 million is coming off the books. I can almost guarantee that if we win a championship, and he will most likely return, if he is to return on probably a vet minimum, which is then going to free up $20+ million for us to bring in, I don't know, the same year that like the, Jeremy Grants and Christian Woods and Bojan Bogdanovic and Jokers and Nikola Vucic, and there's all Jordan Clarkson, like Harrison Barnes. There's so many players that are going to be available right when we get over $20+ million available. So this could be the start. And oh, by the way, when you win championships, all those vets that are opting out and buyouts, all of a sudden they start glancing over towards you. It's not always, oh, LA or Miami or Brooklyn. Now all of a sudden it's, well, hey, maybe I want to go play with that young team that just went to a championship. So again, guys, Boston Celtics with an incredible win last night to advance to the NBA Finals after a hard-fought 7-game series with the Miami Heat. Again, respect to the Miami Heat, respect to the Milwaukee Bucks, and respect to the Brooklyn Nets for 3 excellent series. People forget, even though we swept the Nets, that was damn near as close as it gets to 7 game, every single game, 7 points or less, essentially. So respect to all 3 teams, to the fan bases, to everyone that has supported and tuned in on both channels, Celtics Corner and here. Thank you again. This has been an incredible ride, an incredible journey. And game 1 will be Thursday. So pre-game, post-game, all the above. Good chance that on Celtics Corner, either tomorrow, Wednesday, one of those days, we'll probably do like a call-in show, just like one of those, live freestyle-based shows where we do our predictions, go over matchups. So that'll give me a little bit more time to watch some film on the Golden State side, do some more breakdowns. Obviously, I haven't watched them as much as my team, the Celtics. So again, guys, thank you so much for your time. If you don't mind, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe. And again, Jags to Riches, James Peters. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow on Celtics Corner. Again, thank you so much for your time. Take care, guys. Have an excellent conclusion to your day.